Imagine for a moment the incredible power you carry within, the power to shape reality itself. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. What if I told you that your imagination is not merely a fleeting thought, but the very fabric from which your future is woven? That the world around you is simply a reflection of your inner state. This is no abstract idea. It is a living truth, waiting for you to awaken and command it. Neville Goddard teaches us that manifesting anything fast is not about struggle or waiting. It is about mastering the art of assumption, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled as if it already exists. You do not chase your desires. You become the reality in which your desires are already fulfilled. Close your eyes and feel it now, the sensation of your desire as a tangible presence. Taste the joy, the peace, the certainty that what you want is not a distant dream, but your immediate reality. Hold this feeling with unwavering faith, not in the future, but now. This is the sacred formula. Embody the end result fully in your imagination. Live in the feeling of its reality and refuse to be moved by your current circumstances. Your outer world must obey your inner conviction, because consciousness is the only reality. Doubt and delay vanish before the power of persistent assumption. The mind cannot tell the difference between what is imagined vividly and what is real. This is why you must immerse yourself in the scene that implies your wish fulfilled. Repeat it and live from it until it hardens into fact. Do not negotiate with your present reality, rather rewrite the script in the theater of your mind, and watch the external world rearrange itself accordingly. Manifestation is a natural consequence of your inner feeling, your assumption, your faith. Remember, the speed of manifestation is directly proportional to the intensity and persistence of your assumed state. The more real you make it in your consciousness, the quicker it moves from imagination into experience. You are not a passive observer, but a creator who shapes existence moment by moment. Claim this power with certainty, for you are the master of your fate, and through your assumption, all things become possible. What if I told you that the very thing you seek, whether it be success, love, health, or wealth, is not something to be found outside of yourself, but something to be realized within? Your desire is not fulfilled by waiting for circumstances to change or by chasing after evidence in the physical world. Instead, the secret lies in a profound shift in your consciousness, the shift from longing to having, from wanting to being. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you ignite the unseen forces that bring your desire into manifestation. Consider this. The world you see around you is merely a reflection of your inner state. What you imagine with feeling and conviction sets the stage for what must appear in your life. The external reality is a mirror, a faithful servant to your assumptions. If your heart clings to the evidence of lack, the mirror reflects limitation. But if your heart embraces the feeling of fulfillment now, even before any outer proof, the mirror will show abundance in due course. It is not the outside event that changes you, but the change in your consciousness that compels the outer event to align itself. To grasp this fully, you must understand the power of feeling. Feeling is the language of creation. Mere thoughts without feeling are like seeds dropped on barren ground. They will not grow. But when thought is joined by feeling, when you live in the emotion and sensation of your wish already realized, you plant seeds that sprout and bear fruit in the realm of experience. This feeling is not wishful thinking. It is a purposeful act of consciousness, a declaration of what you accept as real. Imagine yourself now as already possessing your desire. See it, hear it, touch it within your mind's eye. More importantly, feel the emotions that come with this reality, the joy, the gratitude, the peace. These feelings are proof to your subconscious mind, which cannot differentiate between actual experience and a vividly imagined state imbued with emotion. It accepts this assumption and begins to orchestrate your circumstances to correspond. Many falter because they look to the outside world for validation. They say, I will be happy when, or I will believe when I see, but this is to place the cart before the horse. True power lies in reversing this order. Happiness and belief must precede manifestation. They must become the foundation, the ground upon which your reality is built. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you do not wait for life to hand you evidence. You become the evidence of your desire's reality. This shift requires persistence and faith. At first, the physical senses may contradict your assumption, presenting a world that seems distant from your wish. But the senses are deceivers. They record only what appears at the moment, not what is possible. The law that governs manifestation does not rely on what your eyes see now, but on what your consciousness holds as true. Persist in the assumption, refuse to surrender to appearances. In practical terms, this means engaging in the discipline of imagining the end with feeling every day. Create a scene in your mind that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Perhaps it is a moment where you receive the good news or where you enjoy the result of your wish. Relive this scene until it becomes natural, even habitual. Let the feeling become second nature, your new state of being. The moment your inner feeling is stable and convincing, the outer world must obey. Circumstances, people, and events will begin to align themselves with your assumption. The invisible moves the visible. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold effortlessly. This is the law in action, an unerring process of consciousness shaping reality. One may ask, how do I know I have assumed the feeling correctly? The answer lies in the consistency of the feeling and the peace that accompanies it. When you feel no doubt or anxiety, when your inner conversation affirms the reality of your desire, you have found the key. Doubt is the enemy of manifestation. It is the silent thief that steals your power. Guard your assumptions vigilantly. Feed them only with certainty and faith. Another common mistake is impatience. The manifestation may not appear immediately in the form you expect, but rest assured, the seed is growing beneath the surface. The process follows the rhythm of your feeling and belief, not the clock of your senses. Trust this unseen growth. Rejoice in the feeling of having already arrived, and let time do its work. In summary, the path to manifesting your desires swiftly and surely is not to search outwardly, but to turn inward and change your assumption. To feel and live as though your wish is fulfilled right now. To cultivate a steadfast inner conviction that overrides the temporary evidence of the senses. This is the essence of creation. The moment you embrace this truth, you step into the realm of power where anything is possible. Your desire is not a distant dream. It is your imminent reality waiting for you to claim it through the simple but profound act of feeling it as done. To understand the true power of your imagination, you must first realize that it is not merely a passive playground for idle thoughts, but the very engine that moves the universe. It is the creative force that precedes all form and substance, the unseen scriptwriter of your life's unfolding story. What you imagine with clarity and feeling does not remain confined within the mind. It reaches out and calls forth the conditions and circumstances that mirror your inner state. Therefore, living as if your desire is already true is not an act of fantasy, but the most practical and effective method to bring about your goal. When you entertain an idea in your imagination, especially with emotional conviction, you plant a seed within your subconscious. This seed grows, nourished by your attention and belief, until it bursts forth into physical manifestation. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts all assumptions impressed upon it and works tirelessly to externalize them. Thus, the art of manifestation depends not on external actions alone, but on the quality and intensity of your imaginative acts. Living as if means that you must embody the feeling, the state, the identity of already having what you desire. It requires a complete mental and emotional immersion in the end result, as though no time separates you from its fulfillment. This is not pretending or wishful thinking. It is a deliberate and focused act of consciousness. When you feel the reality of your desire in the present moment, your entire being aligns with that reality. and your outer world begins to reflect it accordingly. Many struggle because they try to manifest by focusing on lack or on the gap between where they are and where they want to be. This creates resistance and doubt. The mind cannot hold two opposing ideas simultaneously without confusion. Instead, if you persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, the subconscious mind accepts this as fact. It rearranges your perceptions, behaviors, and circumstances to correspond with this truth. This process requires more than just a fleeting thought. It demands sustained feeling and attention. Imagine the difference between seeing a movie for a moment and living within that movie, experiencing every detail, every sensation. The latter is the key to unlocking manifestation. When you live in the feeling of the fulfilled desire, you are no longer separated from it by time or condition. You have stepped into its reality. This mental and emotional state is the magnet that attracts the corresponding physical evidence. The power of imagination is also the power to transform your identity. Your current reality is a reflection of the self-concept you have assumed. To change your outer world, you must first change how you see yourself. By imagining and feeling the version of yourself who already has the things you desire, you begin to shift your self-identity. This new identity influences your thoughts, emotions, and actions, creating a ripple effect that eventually manifests as new circumstances. Living as if is an act of faith, not faith in some distant event or in uncertain conditions, but faith in the reality of your own assumption. This faith does not waver in the face of contrary evidence. It holds steady and unwavering. It trusts the unseen process of manifestation and remains anchored in the feeling of fulfillment. This steadfastness is what moves mountains, for the subconscious mind responds only to the dominant feeling it is impressed with. It is important to cultivate this practice consistently. Repetition and persistence deepen the impression upon your subconscious. The more frequently and vividly you inhabit the feeling state of your fulfilled desire, the more real it becomes within you, and the faster the outer world conforms. Like a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble, you shape your reality with the careful and deliberate strokes of your imagination and feeling. Another essential aspect is to release any attachment to how and when your desire will manifest. When you fixate on the details or the timeline, you limit the creative power of your imagination and invite doubt. Instead, surrender the means to the infinite intelligence that responds to your feeling state. Your role is to assume the feeling of the fulfilled desire and maintain that state. The universe will orchestrate the perfect conditions to bring it forth. In living as if, you also cultivate a state of gratitude and joy, for these feelings are the natural companions of fulfillment. When you rejoice in the imagined reality, you strengthen the impression upon your subconscious mind. This joy is not dependent on external circumstances. It is born from the inner conviction of your assumption. It is the seedbed in which your desire takes root and grows strong. Ultimately, the secret lies in understanding that your imagination is the gateway to creation. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the cause of all effects. By living as if, you claim your role as the conscious creator of your reality. This practice empowers you to transcend limitations and bring forth your desires with certainty and grace. Master this art, and you will discover that nothing is beyond your reach. Your imagination, when combined with feeling and faith, becomes an unstoppable force that shapes your world according to your deepest desires. You are not a passive passenger in life. You are the driver, steering your destiny through the power of your assumed state. Doubt is the silent enemy that undermines the creative power of the mind. It is the unseen barrier that stands between the feeling of desire fulfilled and its actual manifestation. To accelerate the process of bringing your dreams into reality, you must understand the essential role of persistent feeling, of living continuously in the reality of your wish fulfilled, without wavering. This persistence is not a matter of stubbornness or blind hope, but a deliberate, unwavering conviction that shapes the fabric of your experience. When you first assume the feeling of your desire, realized It is natural for the physical senses to contradict your assumption. You may still see circumstances that suggest lack or delay. The world outside seems at odds with your inner conviction, and this can tempt you to question your assumption. But the senses are deceptive. They only register what is present, not what is possible or inevitable. The unseen reality, your feeling and assumption, has far greater power than any temporary condition. Persistence means maintaining your inner state regardless of the outer evidence. It means returning again and again to the feeling of fulfillment, even if your circumstances appear unchanged. This repetition deepens the impression made upon the subconscious mind, which is the creative force behind all manifestation. The subconscious mind accepts only what is impressed upon it consistently and with feeling. Fleeting thoughts or wavering emotions have no lasting effect. It is the steady, dominant feeling that becomes your reality. To develop this persistence, you must cultivate a mental discipline, a practice of revisiting the scene that implies your desire fulfilled daily, if not multiple times a day. Immerse yourself in the experience with as much sensory detail and emotional intensity as possible. Engage your imagination fully, see the colors, hear the sounds, feel the textures, and most importantly, live in the emotional state of having what you want. The more real and convincing this inner experience, the stronger the creative impulse sent out into the world. Doubt arises often from impatience and lack of faith. When manifestation does not occur immediately, it is easy to slip into disbelief or to revert to old ways of thinking. But this is the moment to hold firm. Faith is the antidote to doubt. It is the trust in the invisible workings of the mind and the laws that govern creation. Faith does not question or seek proof. It accepts and acts upon the certainty of the wish fulfilled. It persists in the feeling, knowing that the outer world will eventually conform. You must also recognize that manifestation may not appear exactly as you imagined or within your expected time frame. The subconscious mind, guided by your dominant feeling, will arrange circumstances in the most beneficial way, often beyond your limited perspective. To persist means to hold the feeling without attachment to how or when it manifests, trusting the process implicitly. This persistence in feeling is not a passive waiting, but an active living. It changes your inner landscape, your thoughts, emotions, habits, and perception. As your inner state shifts, you begin to see opportunities, take inspired actions, and attract people and situations aligned with your desire. The outer world bends to the pattern you have created within. One who masters this persistence experiences a profound shift in power. They move from being at the mercy of external events to becoming the sovereign creator of their experience. This mastery over feeling is the true secret of rapid manifestation. It is the consistent, deliberate assumption of the end, maintained with unwavering conviction, that calls forth the desired reality. In practical application, it is helpful to create a ritual or practice that anchors this persistence. This might be a daily visualization, a moment of gratitude, or a mental rehearsal of the fulfilled desire. These acts reinforce the feeling and help guard against the creeping influence of doubt. Surround yourself with reminders of your assumption, words, images, or sensations that keep you aligned with your desired state. Remember, the mind cannot hold contradictory feelings simultaneously. When you persist in the feeling of the fulfilled desire, there is no room for doubt or fear. You become a beacon of certainty, radiating the creative energy that reshapes your experience. This energy flows outward, attracting circumstances and opportunities that match your inner conviction. Thus, persistence is not simply repetition, but a deepening of your assumed state, an anchoring of your consciousness in the reality you wish to create. It is the key that unlocks the door between imagination and manifestation, turning dreams into tangible experience. Without it, manifestation remains slow and uncertain. With it, the process accelerates and unfolds with grace. Your task then is to cultivate this persistence of feeling with patience, faith, and joy. Embrace the feeling of your wish fulfilled as your present truth. Return to it often and guard it against doubt. By doing so, you harness the full creative power within you, and your desires manifest with speed and certainty. To understand how to change your life, you must first recognize that the world you live in is not an external fixed entity, but a reflection of your inner state of consciousness. Every circumstance, every event, and every person you encounter is a mirror that faithfully reflects your assumptions about yourself and your world. The outer world is not the cause of your experiences, it is the effect. Change your inner assumptions, and the outer world will inevitably follow. This truth challenges the common belief that external events shape our lives. Instead, the creative power lies within your own mind and heart. Your consciousness is the fertile soil in which the seeds of your reality take root. What you nurture inside, your beliefs, your feelings, your self-image, grows and manifests in your physical environment. To transform your life, therefore, is to begin with the transformation of your self-concept. Your current reality is the sum total of your habitual thoughts and assumptions. If you see yourself as limited, unworthy, or incapable, these assumptions will manifest as challenges and restrictions in your life. But if you shift your self-concept to one of abundance, capability, and worthiness, you set into motion a new creative process. The outer world, responding to this inner shift, reshapes itself to reflect the new assumption. This process is neither magical nor mysterious. It is natural and inevitable. The mind operates according to the law that it cannot manifest what it does not first conceive and accept. Before a new reality can appear, it must first be accepted as true within your consciousness. This acceptance is not intellectual agreement, but a felt sense of certainty, a deep inner knowing that transcends doubt. Changing your assumption requires conscious effort. You must identify the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you and replace them with empowering ones. This is done through imagination, repetition, and feeling. Imagine yourself as the person you wish to become, living the life you desire. Feel the emotions associated with that identity: confidence, joy, freedom, and hold this state as your new reality. As you do this consistently, the old self-concept weakens and fades, making way for the new. Your perceptions shift, your thoughts align with your new assumption, and your behavior changes accordingly. This internal transformation naturally leads to external changes. You begin to attract circumstances, opportunities, and people that support your new identity. It is important to understand that this change is not about forcing or manipulating the external world, but about embodying a new state of being. When your inner world changes, your outer world must respond. The law governing reality is precise and unyielding. The external world must conform to your dominant inner state. Many resist this truth because it requires taking full responsibility for their experience. It is easier to blame circumstances or others than to look within. But true empowerment comes from recognizing that you are the creator of your reality through your assumptions. When you accept this responsibility, you gain the ability to shape your life deliberately. This awareness also frees you from victimhood. No longer are you subject to random events or fate. Instead, you become an active participant in your creation. By choosing your assumptions wisely, you direct the flow of your life toward the outcomes you desire. To facilitate this change, cultivate awareness of your habitual thoughts and feelings throughout the day. Notice when you slip into old patterns of limitation and consciously shift your focus to your new assumption. Use affirmations, visualizations, or mental rehearsals to reinforce your new self-concept. The more you practice, the more natural this new state becomes. Remember that patience and persistence are vital. Change may not appear overnight, but the process is unfolding beneath the surface. Trust that as your inner state changes, your external reality will follow in perfect timing. The key is to remain faithful to your new assumption, regardless of current appearances. In summary, the path to transforming your life is through the transformation of your consciousness. Change your assumptions about yourself and your world, and your life changes accordingly. This is the true source of power, knowing that your reality is the mirror of your inner state, and that by changing the inside, you change the outside. Embrace this truth, and you become the conscious architect of your destiny. The speed at which your desires manifest in the physical world depends entirely on the intensity and unwavering faith you place in the assumed state. Manifestation is not a passive event, but a dynamic process fueled by the depth of your inner conviction and the vividness of your imagined reality. When you hold your assumption with clarity, passion, and persistence, you accelerate the alignment of your consciousness with the reality you seek to create. Imagine your mind as a powerful magnet, pulling toward itself the experiences that match the frequency of your feelings and beliefs. The stronger and more concentrated this magnetic force, the faster it attracts the desired conditions. Intensity does not mean frantic wishing or anxious yearning. Rather, it means a calm, focused, and passionate certainty that what you desire is already yours. This certainty creates a powerful vibration within your consciousness that the universe responds to without hesitation. Faith is the foundation of this process. Faith is not mere hope or wishful thinking. It is the deep knowing that your assumption is true, regardless of any contrary evidence. It is an unshakable trust in the invisible workings of your consciousness, a conviction that surpasses the fluctuations of the senses. When your faith is unwavering, your subconscious mind is impressed with an indelible belief that moves mountains and shifts reality to conform. This unwavering faith must be combined with vivid imagination. To manifest quickly, you must immerse yourself fully in the scene that implies your wish fulfilled. Picture the details, hear the sounds, feel the sensations, and most importantly, evoke the emotions associated with having your desire now. The more sensory-rich and emotionally charged your imagined scene, the stronger the impression upon your subconscious mind. This detailed mental scene becomes a living reality within you, guiding your actions and attracting external confirmation. Persistence is equally essential. The subconscious mind responds to the dominant feeling it is given. Repeated temporary lapses or fleeting doubts do not undo your work, but consistent persistence in feeling the end justifies the manifestation process and sustains its momentum. Like water flowing steadily against a rock, persistent faith wears down resistance and reshapes the outer world over time. Your role is to maintain the feeling and assumption continuously, allowing the unseen forces to orchestrate the timing and manner of your manifestation. Another important factor influencing speed is the degree of emotional involvement. The more heartfelt and genuine your feeling, the greater the power of your assumption. This is because emotions serve as the energy that fuels imagination. Without emotional engagement, imagination is dry and lifeless. With it, imagination becomes a creative force that propels your desire forward. To manifest rapidly, engage fully with your feelings, letting gratitude, joy, and excitement pour forth naturally as you assume your wish fulfilled. Resistance within your mind or body can slow manifestation. Resistance takes the form of disbelief, fear, or conflicting thoughts. These inner blocks dilute the intensity of your assumption and send mixed signals to the subconscious mind. To accelerate manifestation, identify and release these resistances. This may require self-reflection, forgiveness, or changing limiting beliefs that no longer serve your vision. The clearer and more aligned your inner world is with your desire, the faster manifestation occurs. It is also vital to trust the process and detach from how the manifestation unfolds. Fixating on the details or timing can create tension and undermine faith. Instead, allow the universe to work in its own perfect way, knowing that your persistent and intense assumption has set the wheels in motion. Detachment is not giving up. It is confident allowance, the knowing that what you desire is inevitable. The speed of manifestation is further influenced by your readiness to receive. Your mental, emotional, and even physical state must be prepared to welcome the new reality. This readiness often comes through the transformation of your self-concept, the shedding of old habits, and the opening of your awareness. When you embody the state of already having your desire, you naturally attract its manifestation more quickly. In practical terms, cultivate the intensity and faith of your assumption daily. Use vivid mental scenes, engage your emotions fully, persist in the feeling of fulfillment, and release all doubts and resistance. Combine these with a calm trust in the unseen workings of consciousness. This harmonious interplay of factors creates a powerful creative force that speeds the transition of your desire from imagination into reality. By understanding and mastering this dynamic, you step into your role as the conscious creator of your life, commanding your reality with clarity and purpose. The speed at which your desires manifest reflects the strength and purity of your inner state. The more intense and faithful your assumption, the swifter and more certain your manifestation becomes. When we step back and see the whole picture, it becomes clear your reality is shaped not by chance or external forces, but by the inner assumptions you hold with feeling and faith. Manifestation is a living process fueled by your imagination, conviction, and persistence. By embodying the feeling of your wish fulfilled, living as if your desire is already true, and unwaveringly holding that state despite any outer circumstance, you unlock the creative power within you. Change your assumptions, deepen your faith, maintain persistence, and trust the process. These are the keys that align your consciousness with the reality you seek. The speed and certainty of manifestation depend entirely on the intensity and clarity of your inner state. When you master this, you become the conscious architect of your life, drawing forth your desires effortlessly and swiftly, transforming dreams into living experience.